Okay, what in the world am I doing? Uh, this is my solar install phase 2, part 1. I don't know. I'll call it something. I've cut out a piece of wood that I'm going to use to cover the wall because I have to cut out a big chunk of sheetrock to get to the breaker panel. And I'm trying to kind of mock everything up the way I'm going to have it set up on there. I've got the charge controller and a little junction box type of deal. That's got a 50 amp fuse, I think it's 50, and then the LED readout for the volts and amps. And then I'm going to have a Blue Sea cutoff switch right here to cut off the array going to the charge controller. And then from there it'll come back down and go to a battery bank that I don't have that will sit underneath it, and then come back up to my two inverters, both with automatic transfer switches. This one you may recognize, the Xantrex 1800 watts, and this is an Ames 1500 watt. I tested both of them, and both of them seem to work great. That one was used, this one was new. And from the inverters, they'll go to my sub panel that I'm going to isolate some circuits to that I want to run off of solar in the event of a power outage. These two are going to be outlets that come from the breaker panel from the circuits that I isolated. For instance, I move the circuit for the refrigerator out of the main breaker box into here. I put a breaker back into the main breaker box where that one was and run a wire to here to a receptacle. That receptacle will then feed that inverter, which is a pass-through inverter, so it will pass the voltage straight through into here. In the event that the power fails, this inverter automatically kicks it over to battery, pulls off the battery, and feeds into here. If the power comes back on, then it automatically flips back and starts running off of power. It'll make a lot more sense when I'm actually wiring it up, but I'm very limited to my space. When I was looking at it, it looked like I had plenty of room, but now that I've kind of got it all laid out, I'm running a little short on space. So if I ever want to expand, I'm either going to have to get a really big charge controller, because I don't know that I could fit another one like this on here, because I'll have my grid tie inverters up here at the top. So anyway, this is the mock-up of what I have. I'm about to go in there and frame up around where I'm cutting the sheetrock out and install this piece, and hopefully when I get to that point it'll make a little more sense. So stand by. Okay, so here's where I'm at. I framed up with 2x4s the same size as that panel that you saw outside, and put hinges on the bottom. That way I can always get to it to work on it. So it lifts up, and then I've got a screw right there. I can put in place. I just did it a little bit just because I'm fixing to take it right back down. I'm just doing this for the video. On the side of the inside of the panel here, and you're gonna need a light. Punch 2 holes in there and put some push-in bushings to protect the wires. And I will be removing that circuit and that circuit, and then there's another one on this side. I can't remember which one it is. I've got it written down on the panel here, and then I got to pull one more out because my generator transfer switch is going to go here, and then one of the breakers is going to be moved to the sub panel, and then I got to have another one moved to the sub panel and put 2 more in there so I can actually feed the sub panel. But anyway, this is the point that I'm at right now, and the reason I'm doing this, you know, aside from the long-term benefits of having a electricity backup system, is because before I went to work, I had to go in for a night shift. I lost power at 5 p.m. My shift started at 7, and they said that the power wasn't going to come back on until 6. Well, as far as I live away from work, it's about a 35-minute drive for me, which isn't terrible. I don't mind the drive, but we were on a pump, a well pump, and we lost power. We had no water. And I was warned when I moved down here by the neighbors, you know, have a backup generator, which I do. A lot of good it did me. I didn't have any kind of bypass or transfer switch hooked up so I could run it. So that's what I'm trying to get done today, is get the generator transfer switch hooked up. And in doing that, I may as well go ahead and prepare for the rest of the solar. So the main project today is the generator transfer switch, but as a byproduct, in order to do it the right way, I'll go ahead and do the solar the way I want to, at least get it set up. So I'm fixing to get ready to start wiring, so once I get all that set up, I'll bring you back and bring you along for that ride. Okay, so here's where I'm at right now, and it's getting kind of late in the evening, and the wife is ready to have her lights back on, so I'm fixing to have to find a stopping point here. But you saw the holes where I punched through the side, and now I've got my Ames inverter mounted, and I've got my sub panel mounted, and maybe it'll make a little more sense now that everything's actually wired. But this breaker used to sit right here. Okay, I pulled that breaker from here and replaced it with a breaker. Now, when I replaced it with a breaker, I ran a new line from this breaker to this receptacle. Okay, still with me? And the way I wired that one, that breaker, is I just put a little splice in the electrical box, which is legal to do inside the box, and spliced another 14-2 over here to this breaker. And this box is powered through this inverter. Well, actually the inverter is just passing it through, but it goes from this cord where the inverter plugs in to this cord that plugs into the inverter to the panel. Okay, easy enough. So that's where I'm at right now. So I'll get the rest of it wired up, and hopefully it'll make more sense. Okay folks, here is the finished product of phase 2 part 1 of the solar install. And like I said, the whole reason I did this was I just needed to install this, which is the breaker for the generator, and it's wired the same way it was at my old house. You know, when the power fails, turn your main off, turn that on, and hook up your generator, and then it powers your whole panel. Just make sure the main's turned off, that way it doesn't backfeed. If you kill a lineman because you hooked up a generator wrong, guess what? That's a manslaughter charge. At least it is in my state. So, and not to mention, you need to be respectful of those guys. I mean, they don't have the safest job in the world anyway. Don't be an idiot and make their job harder. But anyway, this panel, when I bought the house, was completely full. Every single circuit was taken up. So in order to put my generator breaker in here, I had to install a sub panel. Well, if I'm going to install a sub panel, I may as well get it rigged up right the way I wanted to for when I get ready to do the solar. So I have a 2-day project that spawned from having to install one double throw breaker in my panel. But there it is. I've got these two outlets here that are each on their own separate circuit. This outlet here powers this inverter. Well, I say powers. It's passed through this inverter, which goes and feeds my sub panel. At least it feeds one leg of my sub panel, and then this circuit is passed through this inverter, which feeds the other leg of this sub panel. So the big inverter, the Xantrex, powers this middle circuit, which is the big refrigerator in the kitchen, which is the biggest amp draw. For some reason, the way the house was wired, on this circuit, the two lights in the living room and an outlet in the dining room is also run. I don't know why, but that's the way it was wired. And then those two are freezer and bedroom, master bedroom. So in the event of a power failure, and those two are powered by this side. In the event of a power failure, the freezer stays running, and hopefully the transfer switch in these inverters are fast enough that my alarm clock won't shut off. So anyway, I know I don't have anything hooked to the back of these. You know, there's no batteries yet, but now I'm set up where all I have to do is pipe my solar in, and then the charge controller will sit right here, and then put a battery bank down here at the bottom, and that will be my my solar backup system. So I hope this was informative. If you have any questions about it, don't hesitate to ask me. I'll do the best I can to help you out. I learned by watching YouTube videos and asking questions. So anyway, I'm proud of where I'm at right now as far as this goes. Everything should work. I just got to hook a battery to it, and I should have a backup. So anyway, I hope this helps somebody. Whenever I get the battery bank and start and pipe the solar power over here, I'll video that too, and I guess I'll call that phase 2 part 2. So anyway, y'all have a good day. I will talk to y'all later, because I have got a mess to clean up now. This is gonna be fun. I'll talk to y'all later.